All right. All right, Father. Is
Yes.
it? Shall we start, Father, or is there a
Yes. Yes.
big?
Yeah.
Good morning to one and all present here. I feel happy in inviting everyone for the international webinar organized by PG Department of Commerce along with IQAC of St. Joseph College Arts and Science, Kovur, Chennai. This co-educational institution is run by Sisters of DMI and offers 13 UG courses and 4 PG courses. On behalf of the college, I, Archana Balaji, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Commerce, extend my warmest welcome to all who have come together for this webinar on project management, the different levels and responsibilities of project manager roles. Put God first and you'll never be last. I invite Reverend Father Dr. I. Adikalam Swami, Head of the Department, PG Department of Commerce, for prayer.
Let us bow our head and put ourselves in the holiness of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Almighty and ever-living God, we glorify and thank Thee, your name. You have showered us with so much blessings, and your presence continuously reminds us of your faithfulness and guidance. We this may humbly ask you to shower your grace upon our founder chairman, Reverend Father Dr. J. Arulraj, our administrator, Reverend Sister Malarjodi, our principal, Dr. R. Ruben. In a special way, shower your grace on our speaker today, Mr. GLADIAS MARIADOSS, of your greatest inspiration, so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge, experiences, and put it into practice what we may learn today. We pray that you bless all the organizing committee members, all the heads, the students, and the participants, those who are participating in this international webinar, may be able to fulfill their task responsibly, that the objectives they have set may all be achieved. Your infinite blessing would mean the success of this international webinar on project management. May we be living witnesses of your genuine love through the enactment of the knowledge acquired through this activity. Mother Mary, intercede for us. St. Joseph, intercede for us. We ask this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ and our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. God is always on time in His guidance. He is never early and never late. He'll fulfill His purposes for one and all. I now request Mrs. Yan Sabita Rani, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Commerce, to render welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Good morning to one and all present here. It's my pleasure. I welcome everyone to this international webinar, Project Management. I welcome our administrator, Reverend Sister A. Malarjyoti, Principal Dr. R. Ruben, and our eminent resource person, Mr. GLADIAS MARIADOSS, Senior Database Administrator, Architect, Global Software Service, USA. Welcome you, sir. And
Thank you.
I welcome all the heads of the department, faculty, fraternity, research scholars, and my dear students. Once again, I welcome you all for this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Mrs. I. Praveena, Assistant Professor, PG Department of Commerce, for introducing the resource person for the day to the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, one and all present here. I feel immense pleasure in introducing the resource person for today's international webinar, Mr. GLADIAS MARIADOSS, Senior Database Administrator, Architect, Global Software Service, USA. He completed his Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science in the year of 1991, and he done his MBA in Technology Management 2007. He has done many professional certifications, paper presentations, and trainings like Oracle 11G, Project Management Fundamentals and Risk Management, Oracle, SQL Database Administration, Performance Tuning, Informatica, SSAS, SSRS. He has completed FHIR course with full understanding, and also he completed Snowflake with hands-on. He had experience 15 plus years in RD, BMS, 10 plus years in very large data sets, 3.5 years in Jira and JIT. He is specialized in performance assessment, tuning recommendations, and master data management with 22 plus years of experience in software development and support in enterprise level systems, including finance portfolio, sales, and marketing applications. He is strong on database programming, server operating system technologies, storage, and solutions. He has the ability to analyze problems and present business cases, demonstrate sound management based on technical and business needs. He began his role as an employer in the period of June 1999 as a senior program analyst till April 2006. After that, from May 2006, he was an employer in the role of project manager database administrator till September 2010. Then, from October 2010, he was a database administrator, performer, and optimization lead till September 2011. After that, from October 2011, his role was team leader and senior database administrator till March 2014. Then, from March 2014 to August 2014, his role was a solution architect. From August 2014 to August 17, he was a senior database administrator in Alorica. From September 2017 till July 2020, he played his role as a senior database architect leader at IBM. From July 2020 till present, he working as a senior database administrator architect. He has many technological skills also like ERP, big data, reporting, analytical tools, and many programmings like Python, etc. He has many professional achievements. He innovating migrated multi-TBS volume of 11GR to DTBS and GG from legacy data center to next generation. He resolved a sticky byte issue during binary installation, and he set up and configured SQL server, etc. And also he received lots of rewards and recognitions like Q1 2007 GCP IT Peer Excellence DBA Award and Q4 2001 Training and Certification Best DBA Award. High Performer Award GBI Sales and Marketing Applications in 2007 to 10. Q2 12 Best DBA Award, Q1 11 Best Employee Award in EBIT and HP Certified Professional Organization. He received a recognition from HPE clients for performance tuning that resulted in significant time and storage gain. He received an award for the Best DBA and Architect in the year 2015, and he received a recognition for leading team and improving operational efficiencies 2018. I'm happy to welcome for this international webinar, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. That's too much of I don't think that's way too much of my profile. No, I appreciate all of you guys giving me an opportunity to present, starting from our Reverend Father Reklasamy, and also all the
Thank you.
assistant professors that you guys have given, Savita, Rani, and Pravina, you, ma'am, and all other principals, Ruben and Reverend Sister Amal Jyoti, and other correspondents in the organization for giving me this wonderful opportunity to meet with you all today. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Very good. Well, fellow students, it's been a while that I've been into college. I often give presentation here to my son and daughter's high school when they were part of the high school. Now my daughter is graduated from UT Austin here, and she's working in Amazon as a safety and health specialist. And my son, he's a double major, biology and computer science. He will be graduating next year, and he's currently he's working as an internship in Cognizant here in US, in Houston, Texas. And my wife, she's a senior banker in one of a renowned bank in US Regions. That's the bank name, and she's working there as a financial relationship consultant over there on the front office. And so that's about me. As Ms. Pravina mentioned, I've been here in the US since '96 May, and it's quite a lot of journey, almost 25 years here in US. A pretty long time though. But I visit my family back home in Chennai and Trichy, as often as possible, except this pandemic made us to not to be able to travel for the last 2.5 years or so. So we came here last year, September. We visited our family for about 10 days, and we got back here. And my in-laws here with us here, and today is her 75th birthday. We just celebrated in one of our friends' house, and we just got back home for the presentation to be on time. And that's brief about me. And she already mentioned, Ms. Pravina mentioned about my profile already to all of you guys. We can talk about more about my personal stuff a little bit later. I really wanted to focus on the presentation title here, so we will have some time for you guys to realize what this is going to bring it to you in terms of your studies, current studies, as well as when you really get on the real world for the job. So let's get started here. As you can see, hopefully everybody can see my screens here. And I know the project in general, project management, it's a pretty vast topic. Okay, I'll let you know. I can tell you right now, starting from the planning, design, development, implementation, and warranty. So those are the 5 different phases of the project management overall. And it's going to be pretty hard to sum it up in everything in 1 hour, but I'm going to so far mention about roles and responsibilities. Pretty important topic, actually. It's a pretty heavily related role. Any organization that you take, roles and responsibilities are very, very important, starting from your organization where you guys are, I'm going to call the whole college as an organization because it starts from the CEO of the organization is the principal, who manages the whole organization, right? So the roles and responsibilities are defined very clearly, including you professors, assistant professors, and all the lecturers, lab assistants, lab faculties, everybody, starting from office assistant all the way up to CEO. Everybody has a clear roles and responsibilities on a daily operational basis. Who should do what, when it should be done, how it should be done, what procedures need to be followed, any improvements, what are the risks, what are the mitigations. So you can just line it up. So that's the real life right there. What you guys are doing every day, whether we are in the pandemic or non-pandemic, every day, what time you're going to college, starting from your home, or whether you're on a day scholar or hostel, it doesn't matter which way you go. Starting from the time you get up to the college and leave the college. So everything is a schedule. So what you do as a role as a student, and what the teacher is doing as part of her or his teaching experience. So everything matters. So those are the roles and responsibilities. In a project phase, as you can see clearly, these are the 5. I mean, there are multiple ways to define what the phases of the project, but in general, the guideline for the project management is these are the 5 phases that you will always go through. And let me go to the next one. Okay, so here I'm just going to give you some brief overview about overall the project, then I'll get straight on to the roles and responsibilities. So as I mentioned in the college, so planning a project, where I work, let me give you a little bit of background on what I'm doing today. I know Ms. Praveen already read my profile, what I've done in the past. Also, she mentioned on what I'm currently doing. I'm working in a logistics company, and so do you guys as the commerce. You guys are the backbone. E-commerce started picking it up almost 15 years ago. 15, yeah, probably so. It has, from the time it started to where it is today, it is ruling the world. Especially this corona virus brought us even more closer than ever before in terms of e-commerce, especially here in US. Without that, nothing moves. Logistics is a key part of anything. Every movement today that happens there is a logistics in it. What the company that I work is Dematic. Basically, what we do is, for example, let's say one of you guys, going to be an entrepreneur. One or more of you guys are going to be entrepreneur right after your college, right? So you want to start a company, right? Of course, you're going to go through the planning phase and all those things. Let's say you want to maximize. Your idea is not just go ahead and find a land and build a building and then bring up all the items, and then similar to what Amazon does or what other retailers do. That may be your idea, but how do you maximize return on investment, right? That's the key for every project that we build out there. Starting from the investment, and the return on investment is very, very key. And what we do in Dematic is we give you everything as much as automated possible. If you build a warehouse, from the time the product comes into our warehouse, through the trucks and unloading the truck and bring them into shelf and then arrange them in the racks, and everything is done pretty much by automatic robots, to minimize the cost. And every time an order comes in, for example, let's say we have a store. If I'm going to give a brief example of auto store parts, right? Every automobile out there, whether it's a bike, or two-wheeler or four-wheeler, there is at least 100,000, 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh out of parts are built on it, and there are various suppliers who makes them. And so as the truck comes in with a lot of parts, right, you store them into proper locations in the shelf and everything is done by automatically robot. And then when you want it, when a particular customer orders, for example, brake pads, right? And it is going to, the automatic robotic arm is going to go find the brake pad in the exact location and put them in the totes, and then bring it to you and then ship it. And there's a shipping department right there lined up, and then they pack it and then ship it out to the door. And what the beauty is here, it also has the inbuilt knowledge, data analytical tool. The parts that are most oftenly ordered will be very close to the aisle for the robotic arm to go pick it up immediately. The parts that are not ordered that often is going to go a little bit further back. So it's just an example, right? When you walk into the store owner, the advanced store owners are going to think the items that are most attracted to the family, that will be always displayed right up front when you walk in the store. That's how the store people are arranged here. For example, Walmart, as you all know, Walmart is a pretty big stores here, right? So when you walk in earlier, like 10, 15 years ago, the cosmetics department always a little bit back, right? But as the years evolved, the cosmetics department right now, as you walk in, you look on the left side, you will see the cosmetics department, because our family members are most keen to go there directly. Of course, there will be vegetables on the right side too, but that's next. So anyway, so the often used products are in the arranged as easy to get it. So this is what we do. We build the warehouse, we put all the hardwares, we put the softwares, and I am behind the database. So I build the database for them. I design the database, build the database, because anytime I talk about robotic arms, anytime the picking up is every second counts. How soon your product is being picked up and how soon it is being sent to the packing and it's out the door. Everything has a time counted. So anyhow, so that's what we do. So the return on investment and the return on investment is pretty high. The margin is also high because the minimal labor, maximum automation. Anyway, so that's exactly my company does today. And especially the pandemic even brought us, we were most profitable last 2 years or so. Even though the economy was weak, but the need of the people has never shied down. So it always gone up actually. So coming back here, so that's what the overall project and my company does what it does. And here, where the roles and responsibilities, I'm going to go to that but a little bit, but I'm going to also give you some timeline when you build a project, where the time takes longer, where the time slides down. So as we initially, when the project is begun, it is not going to consume too much time because it's only a set of people who are assigned to that task, and the project gets approved, and then they go through the project assessment, and then they go. So initially the time is less. As the planning phase begins, the time is going to go more, because the most important, very, very important part of the entire project is the planning phase. What you plan is what you envision the outcome, the final outcome of the product, final outcome of the project. So you have to spend a pretty sizable amount of time in the planning phase, because what you plan is what is going to be sent to the design, and what is sent to the design is what is going to be built, and what is going to be built is what is the final outcome of the project. So the planning phase will take longer time, and also the development phase, the design, so does the development, and implementation is always, it will be on the downside of it, because it's not going to take too much time to implement it unless it is a massive ERP based solution for a company. Then it will be too much time. But if it is a small product, the implementation time will be minimal. And then once you do that, then we bring up the monitoring and control phase, where it is how do you monitor the system? What are the control measures? When I say control is not controlling the system. Also, the control is the change control management process. Very, very key. Once the product is live, any changes that needs to be done in the product has to go through iterations and cycles of requirement collection, and then or the bug fix or an enhancement. Any new feature, it's going to be an enhancement. Any bug fix, it's going to be bug fix. All those things needs to go through rigorous testing, rebuild, and then finally it has to be released in the production. Of course, you will have a testing bed, and because the production bed is separate, and then you will also have a QA bed. QA always will resemble what we have in production. So the QA and production will have the same version, but the development and test will have different versions of the product, because you continuously involved in a design and development, if new features coming up, everything. So the dev and test will be in different versions. QA and production will be in one version. Anyhow, coming back, so that's what the controlling process. And then finally the closeout process. You close out, you deliver the product, and then the warranty begins from the time you deliver. Usually it's about 15 days or 30 days, followed by the final delivery, and that's some warranty. So these are the multiple phases of the project. Of course, there are multiple slides, however you want to look at it. So as you can say, define the planning phase, goes up, and then the execution is nothing but the design, the development, and this phase is going to be in an iteration, because you may design, and then sometimes what you design may not be in the development when you do a QA test, right? So you got to go back again, either change the design and adjust the development process accordingly, and then release again, test it. So this part is going to be a looping part, iteration, but this cannot be. This is iteration part, and this is one part. Of course, how the cost is going to be and who are all there, the characteristics. So I'm not going to spend much time on that. I'm going to go straight up the roles and responsibilities, right, which is what I'm going to talk about a little bit here. I'm also watching the time. I don't want to exceed the time. The stakeholders, right? It's very, very important to know who is sponsoring the project, who is sponsoring the product, per se. The sponsor is very, very important, and because they are the one who funds the overall project and what the outcome is, and overall what is the timeline for the overall project. They may give you the budget, and they also give you the schedule when the product needs to be released. So that's a sponsor. So the sponsor, most of the times, sponsoring our organization, most of the times they will have everybody. They will be vertical, but all the people underneath the sponsor are horizontal. They will be coordinating with each other, and then collectively report to the sponsor. So you can see project management team, other project team members, project manager, and sometimes the stakeholders are within the same organization, or sometimes outside of the organization. Then portfolio manager, program manager, and so everybody on the left side is pretty much within the company, and the right side are pretty much outside the company, because where you're going to deliver a product, customers, users. Sometimes the users, customer can be internal customer too. Sometimes it's external, sometimes it's mixed, and then the sellers. These are all outside of the company, and operations and functional, they are all part of the internal organization that builds the product. So these are the different stakeholders that are involved in a project, and they are all going to. I'm going to take you guys to the roles and responsibilities of each one of them. That is going to be contributing to the success of the project. I know I'm talking too fast or something, so please interrupt me if you wanted to ask a question. I'm sure the moderator, ma'am, probably, please collect the questions and I will answer them at the end. But if they have a question to ask in the middle, so it'll be helpful for them to understand on my next, please do so. I'm going to give you, right now it's about 3 minutes to the top of the hour. So I'm going to pause for 30 minutes, and so I can give you guys a break. If I'm speaking too fast, just let me know. Any questions anywhere you guys wanted to ask anything? Please, feel free to
Excuse me, sir.
jump in. Yeah, go ahead.
So questions will be asked. I'll just collect them and post it at the end of the session. sir.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you. So we'll do that way. Thank you. Okay, all right.
Yeah, yes. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so that's the project stakeholders, and it's just a different way of presenting it. I just want to there are two types. I'm going to go to the project organization first. So in general, the project organization is pretty much the members of the project are mostly on the project side, on the management side, who manages the project. The project one, it could be a big project, can be divided into sub projects, and each project will be managed by its own project manager, but they will have direct reporting to each other, and then collectively they will report it to the chief executive, which is the senior project manager or program manager. We call him program manager. Here it says chief executive, but the other way we call him is program manager. He or she oversees multiple smaller projects underneath the program manager. The program manager reports to the project management organization. We call them PMO. Often you will hear the word when you go into the IT side or any other software related jobs. You'll hear a word PMO. That's project management office. They are the most important part of an organization because they control all the projects that runs on a particular division. Each organization will have their own PMO, and then collectively they will report to the overall PMO office for the CEO. And here, as you can see, each project, the staff underneath them is the staffs could be, for example, starting from technical project manager, software architects, software solution architect, solution specialist, all of them at the high level. And then underneath them, there'll be set of developers, testers, QA people, and then finally test case writing people, tech writers. All of them will be coming in there. And then finally the support team, which is completely the backbone of the overall product, the outcome of the project, which is a product. And the support team will be involved there too. So all of them will be collectively called as staff here. And then the previous one, the functional organization, these guys play, again, it's similar to project management, but functionally, what is the project and functional? They both are different, but they both have to be working together in order to bring up the total project success, actually. Functional organization, for example, let me give you an example. I'm going to go back to my company, what we do, right? So as I mentioned, we are warehouse solution providers, basically. We build a warehouse, we put all the hardwares and softwares and give you the final product. And here the functional side is one of the function I can say is everything is managed automatically, right? But also we have everything is controlled by systems. The software we develop a product called DA2 optimizer, right? We call them Dematic IQ intelligent optimizer. That software controls every movements of that happens within the warehouse automatically. The functionality, for example, totes are moving in a conveyor belt, and as each tote moving in a conveyor belt goes to a station where an item can be picked up by a human and put it in the totes, or a robotic arm picks up the item from the shelf and drops it in the totes. Either way, so one or other way, right? So the functionality is picking and dropping the item, but so the functional part is what that part they define how much time it has to take to pick an item from the shelf, either by the robotic or from human, and how much time it needs to take to put it in the tote, and how soon the toad needs to be moving from that station, because the next toad in the line is waiting for the space to be freed up for the next order already placed by the customer. So this is functionally, they vision this, and then they say, okay, every, probably within a second or two, it needs to be moved. But that's the functional part. And what if it fails? What is the next step? Excuse me. Should we send a human to hold the next toads in the line to be held up, or what do we do? Because if they don't have a room to move, because if the first toad did not get the items to be filled in, obviously the next toads in the line keep coming up, right? The conveyor belt just keep moving. So what happens is at one point, and it'll get shuffled. Basically, each toad will jump on the other toad, and then it's going to be a mess. So the humans need to walk in and take the toads out and stop the conveyor belt until the first toad in the line is filled up. So these are all the functional part. The IT part, IT people who builds the product will be working close with the functional organization. Project management office, they pretty much give you the tasks and they assign it to the members, and they'll give you the timeline to build. They'll give you the timeline to test and deliver it. That's where the project organization ends. But functional organization people, they visualize the product, how it should look, how it should function, and the IT people behind it. So the functional organization is also very, very important, and this is how they look. And finally, the way, as I mentioned, they both work closely with each other and report to the PM office. And as you can see, functional managers and project managers and their staff and functional staff and everybody will be, this is how the stock matrix organization should look like. A lot of times, this is where things gets really in the real world. This gets a little bit complicated because the boundaries are not defined properly. Each one have their own set of people to control, and when they cross share the information, they really, they don't want to share because they don't want others to know what is within that organization, what they do. So there will be some information to be withheld and on their own, and by the time they realize that information is very, very important, the product may be already in the development phase or in the testing phase. And then what happens is, because of this, now the product cannot be delivered on time, so they have to go back to design phase and redesign. And this happens in real world. It happens, as I had seen that and I experienced it as well as myself. But in the end, the management's support would be, well, at least we found it now. Like in the beginning, as I mentioned, it's never early, never too late to reach out to God. Same way, PMO's advice to us is all the time, always say, at least we found it now, before we roll out the product. At least we have some time we can always borrow some, 1 week extra. It's better to deliver a quality product rather than, error-prone product. So that's what they do. But it happens. So we just need to be cautious ahead of time and fix it. So I'm going to go to the roles and responsibilities chart. Here, responsible people. That's we call RACI chart, RACI. That's any project management people where you are going to talk with your family members who are already working in the IT department, your family members who are working in the product development. The product could be a mechanical product, or a software product, or a product that comes from the field, from farmers. Any product, right? Any product that could be. In the IT, in the side, they will know who is responsible for certain actions and who is accountable for it, and who is consulted, who is informed, right? So the responsible, the R is R. They don't really start from the planning phase to the implementation warranty phase. Responsible people will not be coming through all the way through. They will probably, most of their people who are responsible will be the project management side, and their time is mostly needed in the very, very beginning phase of the project. And as you can see, the accountable is who the person who is, as you can see, is the owner of the work. The owner can be a developer. The owner can be, the project manager itself, because he or she is accountable for the success of the project once it is assigned, the task is assigned. So as you can see, that's accountable. This is another very, very important roles and responsibility within the RACI chart. And these consulted people, they are being only consulted. They, like for example, every organization will have a go-to guy. A girl, a go-to guy, doesn't matter, respect of the gender. That one person will have pretty deep knowledge about the systems, because that one person might be in the company for years, 10 years, 15 years or so, and they built up so many systems knowledge over the years, and they are wealth of knowledge. So that one person will be consulted, for most of the project items, and particularly integration side of the project, they will be consulted very heavily. So they provide advice to the project managers, or the software architects or software solution people. They don't deal directly with the developers or testers or QA people. They deal with higher level people, but they will be always in the loop. So that they can provide very, very important decision making solutions to the team, to the organization. And the last one, but not the least, they are the one that needs to be informed of what the project status is, why it is delayed, why this risk is not measurable, what is the mitigation step, all those things, that they are the one, because they need to be informed of it, because they need to update their management, which is waiting on a product outline. So they don't need to be regularly, like everyday meeting and all, they don't need to be involved, but they need to be given the update of what's happening, and if there's any major delay they anticipate. For example, when resource is out for whatever the reason, sickness, or anything else that happens within that person's family, could also bring a delay in the project schedule. So which is very, very important. So that's why it has to be calculated before. So when they assign and they pick up all these roles and responsibilities, they always need to give a cushion on their project timeline. You cannot give exact timeline for a project. No, it's an estimated timeline. Actual may vary. Very rarely, massive projects are delivered before time. It is very, very hard, especially with the pandemic. I can tell you, if we order servers today to build a server to support a warehouse, right? I'm going to give another example, beautiful example. It's one of our clients in Poland, and you probably would have, most of us people who is in the hands of the tobacco products, they know Marlboro. Right, it's one of a famous cigarette manufacturing company here in the US, and they have office in Poland, right? So they wanted us to build a small warehouse where they can bring the supply and then they can just ship it out. The server deliverable was pretty hard because the chip that needs to be manufactured to put in the server are delayed, because the chips are coming from Taiwan or China or Japan. Those are mainly in Taiwan. It got delayed. So obviously, what we anticipated within a 2 months deliverable, it got extended to 3.5 months. We anticipated to 3 months, but it took a little bit extra. But it's okay. But finally, we delivered it. So these are some we cannot estimate exact time when you give a timeline to the project management office. You have to build a cushion. Usually, we build about 20 to 30% cushion of the overall. Let's say if it takes 10 days, if you think it takes 10 days to finish it, you probably add 20 to 30% on top of it, and then you build it. That's how the project plan needs to be built out. Also, resources, when you build it, you also need to calculate the holidays, the vacation days of the resources that are involved in the project. Those needs to be counted as well, as those are very, very important decisions that they need to build it. And also, if one person goes off, leaves the company for whatever the reason, and you need to have a backup for each of those important resources. For QA and testing, you can always manage, but in the development, it is pretty key, and design is pretty key. You have to maintain backup resources for the important people who plays that role. So you have to build for that as well. If somebody leaves suddenly, then you need to have a backup person to build it. Pick it back up immediately, not wait for another 1 week or 2 weeks to bring them on speed and then get it on going. No, it's not acceptable. That's not a very project planning either. So you got to plan that as well. So the roles and responsibilities play very, very major role in the project deliverable timeline. So they got to define very clearly in the beginning. So I'm going to just and that's what it is. So it is very, very important. And my role, I'm going to from my team is responsible for global software services, as Mr. Vitar already mentioned. We provide software solutions for the warehouse, right? So my responsibility is building the database server and install the product, install this database software, and create the database and give it to them. And that's my responsibility. Starting from defining the server, what is the requirement, how much hard disk it needs to have, how much the storage it needs to have, what kind of storage you need to have, SSD or regular hard disk, all those, and then how many NIC cards, network information cards, interconnectivity card I need to have, what is the speed of the LAN between the server to the application server. Everything is measured. I have an infrastructure architect in my team, and he's responsible for infrastructure. I'm responsible for database. So each one knows our roles are clearly defined, and I'm a horizontal. I'm not a vertical person. I'm a horizontal because there are so many customers we have. So every customer will have access to me directly to pull me in. There were days, there were weeks where I work 70 hours. There were weeks I work 50 hours. Because I'm a horizontal resource, I get pulled up in multiple projects. And so my role, I am very clear on what I need to do, and not just the definition part on the defining the server and giving it to them. Once the product is out, once the warehouse is fully operational, I will be called in for a performance improvement. For example, I'm going to give you an example because it's all part of roles and responsibilities. I just cannot say, okay, I finish everything, off you go. No, I can't do that. I should be there always as a person to behind the screen. If there is something that the performance is not good, what do you mean performance? For example, as I mentioned before, every second counts. When you go to ATM, for example, you put your card in, you get your money out, right? So, and then you get the balance immediately, right? The time it takes for the system to respond back to you needs to be on fingertip. It should be less than a second or second, right? Because we may have patience everywhere else, but when we go to certain places, we certainly don't have the patience, particularly ATM machines, right? We go there, we put our card, we expect something immediately. We don't wait for that. So every second counts. If a query that pulls the balance of you in your bank account, if it takes way too long, you don't have patience. What's happening? What's going on? Why is it slow, right? That's where the second counts. For me, in logistics, every second counts. I'm not sure how much of you guys are familiar to the Amazon fulfilling center, right? My daughter works as a specialist, safety specialist, right? So every second counts. If an item is not met, if it missed, there will be a question. So if a query that goes off and pulls an item's availability or the item is there or not, if that query needs to be returned with the results within a second, under a second, or milliseconds. If it goes more than 1 second or 2 seconds, then there is something wrong. It could be from the database side, it could be from the application side. If it is database side, I need to go through a whole lot of performance analysis. Why is it happening? Is it a particular pattern? Is it getting established? Is it a particular time in the system? It's overloaded, or anything else is happening in the system? I have to go through, and then also what kind of a read write latency that happens. How much time it takes to write the data, how much time it takes to read data from the computer. Everything need to be measured to provide complete resolution for that issue. Coming back, so that's why the roles and responsibilities part of a project is very, very important. It is well defined. I mean, usually it doesn't change. Sometimes you get they say there's a word they call one in a box, two in a box, three in a box. It means one person will play more than one role. For example, in some of the projects I managed, I myself a project manager, I myself is a design person, I myself is a developer, sometimes tester. I usually avoid myself from testing, because the reason is you can't put a developer as a tester because they will do the testing, but you can't put him as a QA because he knows or she knows the product, what is being developed by that person. And the mindset is always, it should work, this is how it should work, this is the outcome. They don't think beyond that perspective. Because the holistic picture, they may not know, because they know their part. The QA person who is responsible for testing the overall functionality, that person will have more knowledge on the system, how it should do, how it should look, what it should return, how long it takes to return, everything, right? So one person, that's why they say one in a box, two in a box, three in a box. Usually, I managed, 3 in a box, 4 in a box. There are hours. That's why I mentioned when I say 70 hours, that's what the 70 hours comes into the picture. So that the roles and responsibilities pretty clearly defined in the beginning part of the project itself. There's no definition in the middle of the project, at the end of the project, or once the project starts. No, they will identify everything at the beginning, and they will assign the roles and responsibilities very clear, and then hand it off to the project manager to continue through. And here, I'm going to probably, there you go. Here, as you can see, here in the horizontal side, you see software engineering manager, project coordinator, BA, business analyst. Some of you all are aware of what does the business analyst do. They are the liaison between business people, who most of the times they are the funders. They have the money and they want the product. This is how the product looks like. So that's business office, and then the other side is IT people who develops a product and gives it to them. So the business analyst role is very, very important, and so they play a liaison between the business office to the IT people. They help to write the design document sometimes, and then they also document every requirements that is being given by the business people. We call BRD, business requirement document, and we also have functional design document, BRD, FDD, the other documents in the process. They do that, and then software solution architect is another very, very key role, because that person needs to provide an architectural level solution for the product holistically, not just the one piece of the puzzle, the overall puzzle itself. They are responsible for that. They need to also build a prototype and then develop and show the demo to the PMO office and say this is how the product will look like when you complete the project. So that's very, very important role. And then software architect, the solution architect plays a major role. Software architect is multiple software architects will be there. For example, I'm a database architect, infrastructure architect, right? And then Java architect, front-end architect. So all these multiple software architects will be reporting to the software solution architect, because we need to collectively work together. And then the software engineers, the names are here, software engineers, but they're all developers basically. You have senior developers, you go, mid-range developers, and you go junior developers. And sometimes you will also have internships coming into the company, and they will also play some part of the role. And then the QA engineer. All of us will be reporting to the software project manager and also software engineering manager who oversees the whole overall project. So these are, as we read in the previous slide, responsible. Who is responsible? So this manager is a responsible party, and then software project manager is accountable, and he or she is also responsible. Project coordinator is mainly responsible for communication, everything. And then solution architect is consultant. Once the initial design, software solution architect will be there, but after that, he'll be a consulting only because he or she will be a horizontal resource, because their knowledge and expertise will not only for this particular product, they will be used in other areas of the company too. So they will be consulted. So in the beginning phase, their play will be more, and once the product is designed, he's out or she's out, because they will deliver their time to 50% here, 50% there. So they'll be in the consulting mode. And the I, as you can see, requirements traceability, I want to give you a little bit here. The software engineers inform of the requirements traceability here. When they define the project, requirements are classified into small pieces. It may be one big document from business office. The BAs who are responsible for splitting them into smaller tasks, and then they will assign a traceability for each of those tasks when they build it, so they can map the requirements to developed product, each one functionality, and that person's, even though it says here I, but they will also be responsible too. R and I will come over there actually, so they both will have that responsibility. So this is how the chart is defined. It may be right now, if you look at it, probably it may be Latin and Greek, but once you get to that, in your part of your current project that you guys are going to be doing as part of your internship or in-plant training, whatever the methods that you guys call, when you get to work in another company as part of your current bachelor's degree or postgraduate or any research scholarship that you guys do, now you'll come to know all these things. But they may not share this with you as overall, because it belongs to the company that you work for or report to. They may not be able to share the whole thing, but you can definitely ask them, what is race you plan from, so they don't, there's a huge thing. So that's very, very important. That's why, of course, I didn't talk about risk and mitigations, but it's that the risk and mitigation is what if you put the vaccine, what if something terrible happens and people die because of the vaccine? What is the mitigation? So the roles and responsibilities plays a major role, and that's where the COVID-19. It's a very good question. I hope I can answer. I hope you got the answer from me.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the clarity, sir. There is another question, sir. Could you just explain about the future projects, prospects of the future in project management?
Okay. Excuse me. So I assume the person who is asking the question, I'm thinking that they wanted to go in the project management side, or leaning towards project management side. I will tell you one thing though. Nobody likes the project manager. Nobody. If you're a project manager, you will get yelled at in every possible meeting. But I'm not discouraging it. I'm just saying, because you got to think. It's like, I'm going to give a beautiful example. For example, there are many movies, but this one just popped up in Singham. I don't know how many of you guys watched the Surya Singham movie. There'll be a comedy play between Vivek and Surya by the father of the Surya. He will say one thing, but Surya will think 10 things advance, and then he will complete it. Right? That's how the project manager should be. That's how. And a lot of times there's a lot of hours spent by the project manager. And if the project goes success, he will be applauded. If the project gets delayed or risk not managed properly, he or she will get held to. And they need to be in the communication. There's never a part over communication. No, in a project management, you have to be constantly on your toes to keep up with the communication between various stakeholders, as I showed you, upper management, developers, testers. If the one particular developer suddenly calls off one day, hey, I'm sick, I'm not coming today. Think about it. Think about what happens. And that particular developer, let's say there's no backup. That's even worse, right? So how do you manage a situation, right? So you have to. This is where the lot of times you cannot be so rough. You cannot be so fluid as well. You have to be. You don't need to be rigid all the time, or you don't need to be rude. You just need to find a balance between the extreme to the lowest one, and you got to check and balance and make sure you have an approachable behavior. Okay, if the developer needs to come to you and say there's a problem in it, right? And you need to be in a situation to understand the problem and also ask what is the risk because of this, what is the solution for it, how long it's going to extend the project. You have to be in a role. You have to be in a situation to understand that. You cannot get immediately either panic. You cannot press the panic button, or you cannot go extreme on that too. Well, why didn't you say this before? Well, I told you this time 10 times before. You told me all. No, there's no room for that. So it's a very, very important role. You just need to, it will come through experience. Each project you will learn a different experience. Not every project is same. So that's my answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the clarity. I now call upon Dr. K. Valamati to propose vote of thanks.
Good morning to all. So it's my pleasure to deliver vote of thanks. First, we articulate our heartfelt thanks to our founder and chairman of DMI and MMI group of institutions, Reverend Father Dr. J. Arulraj, for his guidance and motivations. Our sincere thanks to our beloved administrator, Reverend Sister A. Malarjodi, for her valuable support and guidance. Our department heartful and special thanks to our principal, Dr. R. Ruben, for his continuous encouragement and innovative guidance. A sincere and special thanks to our honorable resource person, Mr. GLADIAS MARIADOSS, for his inspirational and innovative information in the field of project management. Sir, we hope you definitely it will be motivate to our participant to become a project manager in the futures. So you are prescribably and describably giving your explanation to become a good project manager each and every participant, sir. And your organized manner of explanations regarding project management, both in the hardware and software manners, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Yes.
And I just wanted to take a couple more minutes extra from you guys because Father requested me to provide some background of myself. I'm coming from a very, very normal, basic family background. What many of you are, or some of you are, or few of you are today, 26 years ago. Okay. There were, most of my high school days are, there were no electricity in my home, and I studied in street lights. First time my family got a fan or TV is 1992. Sorry, it was right after my college, correct? So that's when we got the TV. We never had a TV before in my home. We were in a rented house, and my father was a Palon transport conductor. And I got I was top in the maths in my high school, and I'm also Tamil literature on it. and I got both medical college and engineering college admission, both I got, but I chose my engineering line, and my dad wanted me to be a mechanical engineer because he wanted me to go into managing the branch of a particular PTC. But I told him no, I want to be computer science. So I picked up computer science, and right after my college, I had a very tough time too. 5 years, I worked in multiple jobs. I leave my home at 6:45 and come back home at 9:30. I worked in two jobs for about 5 years, and then I got a break. I came here through HCL Consulting, very nice company that brought me up here, and where I am today. My dreams have come true. I worked in the companies that I needed to work here in US. I worked in Oracle, I worked in IBM, HP, Compaq, Digital, name it. Most of the companies I worked for that I wanted to work for. All above, it's all. One thing I want to mention here is my. At that time, my dad's. He was being a transport member. I got admission in the IIT road, right? So I'm always ever thankful to my dad for giving me an opportunity. And also, above all, the man above, as Father mentioned in the beginning, and also our president mentioned, never early, never late, right? So always keep your faith, and no matter which religious, which faith we follow in our life, no matter what, you always have, or if you don't have any faith at all, whichever is the path that you choose, always be truthful to yourself, and you are the best finder of yourself. Not your mom, not your dad, not your sister, not your friend, nobody. It's just you. It got to be you. Whatever you do, just it's you. Everybody else that I mentioned, mom, father, mom, dad, sister, brother, friends play a major role in the college, because we are out of our home for 8 hours or more than 8 hours, and we are there with our friends. So they play a major role. They shape most of the times back home. They also play a major role in shaping our characters, our livelihoods. So it's very important. So, but irrespective of all these facts, ultimately it's going to be you are the one making the decision for yourself and your family or your friends, whomever that you are with. So always, stay positive. And one couple of things I learned from my kids here, particularly my son. Actually, I want to mention that. Actually, you always move forward. Yeah. Back home, it is very hard with the family environments. It's very hard that they always go back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, last year, last month. This happened because of you, because of that. No, nothing matters now. What you do tomorrow, what you do today is very important. But you learn from the past. You do not repeat the same mistake. But you always try to move forward. Keep always a positiveness in everywhere you go. Every person, including me, what we bring to the table, right? It's very they always often talk about here. What can you bring to the table? Why do we need to select you? What you can bring to my company? Your body, your speech, your overall perspective gives a positive energy surrounding you. Some people, if you notice in college, some group of friends are always attracted to one person or two persons. They're talking, having fun, all those things, because there's some positive energy comes out of the person. So they always like to be with that person. It could be one or two, and it could be a group of people. It's good actually. You be a role model to that. You always try to bring the problems are always going to be there. Do not ever forget that. It's not going to go away. But you don't run from that. You never run from the problem. You stand up for the righteous cause. No matter if it's a single or an organization or an entity, no matter whether it's a family or your friends, wherever you go, or in college, doesn't matter. Stand up for the right then and there. Take your time. Do not be emotional. Also, always think it through and be righteous all the time as much as possible. Don't be a chooser. on when you can be righteous, when you can be not righteous. Oh, it's my family, so I can be, I don't need to be this much righteous. Oh, it's my friend, I can give it up. No, you always stand up to be yourself. So that's my take. And here I am standing in front of you guys, giving me an opportunity to speak about my side. And I am from very, very humble beginning. And today where I am is because of the faith that I had in my God, and my Lord has driven me to where I am today. I have faced so much hardships in my early childhood. You name it, I will have it. So,
Thank you, sir.
but
Thank you, sir.
yeah, thank you
It's
very
a
much.
great
I appreciate it. You all have a
Yes, sir.
great day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's our pleasure, sir. Such eminent person, such a hard work person. So the father, we are nice for giving like your person, sir, for this webinar, sir. Really, I thank God and thank you, sir, so much, because your hard work, we saw your achievements, sir, everything. So thank you, sir. So I extended my sincere thanks to our Reverend Father I. Adakala Swami, head of the PG Department of Commerce, for his continuous encouragement and support. I also thanks to our organizing committee for their moral support. I also grateful thanks to all the participants from our college and the various parts of the world for your active participation in this webinar. Finally, I thank to System Admin Mr. Arish for his timely and technical support for this made webinar successful. Thank you, one and all. Thank you so much.
You all have a great day. Great day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
முடிக்கிறீங்களா? Better. So I take this opportunity to thank once again our eminent resource person, Mr. GLADIAS MARIADOSS. When I approached, he happily accepted, and he is with us now. So after hearing his talk, and I could see the tears in the eyes of many people also. So really, it is the hard work and the faith and trust in God. He has what he is now today. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much on behalf of DMI institution, chairman, administrator, our principal, and especially from the PG Department of Commerce. We extend our sincere thanks and our appreciation to you, dear sir. So thank you so much, and God bless you in your future endeavors. Thank you. And also, I take this opportunity to thank all the persons, those who are behind, for the success of this international webinar series. Thank you, participants, for your active participation and cooperation for the success of this international webinar. Thank you all. Thank you all. Take care. God bless you all. Be safe and be good always. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Father. Thank you. Thank you.
Students, feedback link is being posted in the chat box. I request everyone to open the same and fill it. Thank you.